I'm super happy to be here today and share with you my passion and experience and maybe some anecdotes about how storytelling is super important when it comes to pitching. You know, it doesn't matter what you pitch in life, you have to tell a story. And so I'm super happy to be here today with my friend Annie and doing this with Annie. So we're going to be bouncing back and forth about how to tell a story in order to help you to create a pitch and more importantly, to create a video pitch. So super excited.
Thank you so much, Zoonie. So my name is Annie, as you've seen me for most of the workshops throughout the Technovation program. We're almost at the end. So girls, first of all, I want to congratulate you to take on this adventure, and especially with the current circumstances, it's even more inspiring to see that there's still most of the participants that are super motivated to finish this project.
Yeah.
And we're getting into the fun part, which is creating the video pitch. And one of the reasons why I approach you, Zoni, is because you're a natural born speaker. You're quite inspiring. So I really hope that this workshop is going to inspire all of you girls as well. Um, and just before we start hopping onto the actual workshop, I just wanted to start with a quick agenda and walk through some key housekeeping items. So I just want to walk through some documents. There's some information that maybe we have walked through in the past, but I just wanted to do a recap and a reminder. As you know, you have the guide that we've been using throughout the whole program. I made some adjustments reflecting the last storyboard workshop, which was supposed to be in person, and this is why we're doing it recorded. And so I added some worksheets that you can see towards the end. Some worksheets related to the storyboard template, also some information from the Technovation Challenge platform related to how to create your storyboard, editing, and etc. So please, I would recommend you to go to the latest version online since you have a printed copy, but please go online on the drive. This is a link that's been sent to you in previous newsletters. So the link that has all the content for the past workshops, also the storyboard template and the guide right here in the folder. It has the up-to-date version. As well as we created this cheat sheet explaining the different criteria for submission. And as a reminder, the deadline has been pushed to May 4th. So you have until May 4th to submit your project. So here, just a recap of the different submission guidelines, judging rubric, the different checklists for the business plan and the code, and as well as how to submit your project. So Technovation Challenge has a lot of great content, and the last lesson on week 12, it explains how to submit your project. Also towards the end of the document, we've put some other resources related to the pitch video. Again, just recapping the three lessons given by Technovation Challenge, as well as some resources such as a storyboard creator online, and also some video editor resources, either whether you have iPhone, Android, or a desktop. I also wanted to note an important detail. Since we were supposed to have a workshop on April 4th, so instead we are replacing it as a Saturday, April 4th from 9 to 12. It will be a live session Q&A with Zoonie again and a few other videographers. We will be there to answer any questions that you may have. We could also just do a touch base on where you're at in terms of your storyboard or your project overall. And basically, we have this sheet here, and I invite you girls to sign up as soon as you can. because there will be time slots of 30 minutes and up to maximum four teams each, just so that we make sure that we can speak to everyone. We can give like as much as attention as possible to every team. So please go sign up and write the names of your team members and mentor. And I think that's, oh no, just one last thing. I repeat again, don't hesitate to go on the Technovation Challenge platform. When you go on my Technovation Challenge and you click on your name, so there's the section open the curriculum. And when you arrive here, there's all of the lessons, but I wanted to highlight again the 3 lessons related to the pitch video: outline your pitch video, record, edit, and the last one at the end, how to submit your project to the competition. I think that's it for now. Oh, and one last thing. I included it in the guide, but this is an interesting link. So technovationchallenge.org season results. This is last year's project's winners, and I encourage you strongly to go see the pitch videos that from the teams that won. That way, I'll give you an idea of what is expected to be placed. And I feel like as we walk through this, there's like more and more details up in my head. Just a recap of what should be part of your pitch. So in the lesson of week 9, outline your pitch video. If you scroll down, there's a section that explains the outline of what your video should talk about. And so we have here a list of about 9 items. So don't forget to talk about your problem statement. You girls have been working really hard throughout the program to narrow it down. So this is where you'll need to mention that again. And we also need to create an emotional connection, right, to the judges that haven't seen, have never met you. So you need to not, yes, be professional, but be also like accessible. And don't forget to talk about your solution. What's the problem statement and how does it solve it? And how do you distinguish yourself according to the competitor, as well as your target audience, including also your demo of an app. You can include, strongly recommended to include screenshots of your app, and also the different functionalities and how your team is being composed, and what's being tested, and what other features are coming up in the future, and also how you're gonna market your app and finance it. So that pretty much covers all of the housekeeping items. I'll pass the floor to you now, Zoonie.
I had been many times in the past, I had been wearing the hat of a judge for business competitions, business cases at McGill des Hotels, and in different competition in Montreal for women entrepreneurs. And so when I'm sitting in the audience as a judge, um, I'm really interested in understanding. Now, this is a live presentation, right? Like me sitting with other judges, but it's not the numbers or the PowerPoint or the charts or the graphs or the technical. That doesn't impress me right away. What impresses me usually as a judge and makes me want to sit down with you so that then we can go through the numbers and the technical stuff. So what I really try to walk away with is really, I'm trying to understand why you are standing up there. So in this case, in the video, I'm trying to understand why is it that you even, why are you doing this project? What was the calling? What made you decide? Why did you choose to participate in Technovation? I want to know why. And then why did you decide to work with that team, with the other participants? Why did you choose that team? And what is the dynamic in that team? Because you see, as a judge, potential investors, I want to know, why did you choose to do that, number one? And I want to know if you're going to finish the race. And a lot of times investors and judge, they look at the team, right? Okay, so are you a strong team? Are you complementing each other? Do you understand why you do what you do? And are you going to finish the race? I mean, when you hit, when you hit some hurdles or difficulties, how quickly do you get back up because of that passion,
Mhm.
because of that drive? Because do you believe 500% in what you are pursuing? And those are the things that I'm looking at, that after the video it will make me reach out and say, hey, you really got to me, you really got to me. Because at the beginning, when I listened to your app and what you're trying to do, and I'm like, okay, okay, that's interesting, that's interesting. But as I keep on watching your video pitch, all of a sudden you are transforming me. And I think a lot of people are looking for that change. So at the beginning, the first 30 seconds, I'm like, ooh, okay, this is interesting. And then as you keep hearing the storytelling, as you keep seeing, not just hearing, but seeing, watching, and listening, something happens. Metamorphose. Okay,
Mm.
you are changing inside, and you're like, oh my God, oh my God, yes, that can totally impact our society, our world, if that app can do that. And then as a judge, once again, I start to visualize how things can be different because of that app. So you see, so there's a whole process that the audience must go through. So you have to find a way to transform them. What were they thinking at the beginning? What are they thinking in the middle? And at the end, they, are they walking away feeling, oh my God, yeah. So basically, you got to start unknown and finish memorable, because there's so
Oh,
many
wow.
apps,
Yeah.
a lot of teams. But yeah, so whether you're competing with 2, with 10, or with 20,
Yeah.
which one will win? And the one that will win is the one who won the heart of the audience. Yeah, so I got into storytelling because I understood that if you don't share the story, then the audience will walk away with just, okay, you got into this because of fact, and there's nothing that connects you to them. And on top of that, if you don't tell your story, then how do you differentiate from the other participants? Because guess what? The biggest asset in this whole storytelling thing and your project is you. It's you. Well, it's you and your team, right? If there's three of you, then it's these three stories glued together, and that's the power. And because you work together as a team and you're passionate about it, that's how you can deliver this app and explain to the judges and the audience why and how you're doing this and the impact that it's going to bring to the world. But I think as a first step, what they should do, they should sit together and really kind of like do a recap, a brainstorm recap, kind of like what you just did now. You went through the whole where we're
The
at
different
now.
sections. Yeah.
Exactly. So they should
Mhm.
get together and they should film this. They should really take all of their phones, and they should really a video capture this round table that they're going to do. Because through this brainstorm session where they talk about, hey, do you remember how we got into this? Remember I met you in the, I don't know, in the schoolyard, and we start talking about this. Like, they need to do this kind of like recap, because to be honest, that's very therapeutic, number one, and it forces you to remember why you got into
The
this in the first
purpose.
place. And whatever they capture in that brainstorming session, they can use it. They can use it as B-roll. They can use it to script. They can use it to storyboard. They have to somehow take off that hat of the app creator or founder or whatever. So basically, act like a boss, but think like a judge. Act like a boss, but think like a judge. So you need to be able
Yeah,
to
that's
get
good.
in their heads. So you see the slide that we see right now. I don't want to think that I don't want to think that your app is a great idea. I want to feel it, because when I feel it, then I can go tell my spouse about it. I can tell my kids. I can tell my students, hey, have you guys heard about that app? It is so cool. Here's what it does. So that's the thing about storytelling. When you tell the story and you really focus on the right stuff, and you don't just talk about, okay, our app, it's really cool because it does this and this. When you really tell the story of your app, what
Mhm.
it does is that it makes people change the way they think about that problem. So at the beginning, if you're doing an app on, like if I take the idea of those those women who are being abused, then at the beginning I might think that, yeah, that's really sad, yeah, the world is not fair. But by the end of your video story, your pitch, I'm becoming an ambassador, and I'm like, oh my god, I cannot believe this, we must do something about it, we cannot let another single woman being abused anymore. Do you know what I mean? You almost become like
Mm-hmm.
a evangelist or an ambassador for that app. And that's what the girls need to do. They need to get in the heads of the judge, because the judges, they're all there and they're going to be hearing one app after another. I don't know how many video pitches they're going to have to listen to. But by the end, which one are they going to remember? If they can test
Mm-hmm.
drive their app by go on their Facebook community, find a friend who maybe has that problem that they are trying to solve with their app, like just survey on Facebook in their community and interview people and say, okay, so our app aims to solve your problem, the problem that you have. How do you feel about that? Like test drive and go out there and kind of pre-sell your idea, your app, and then get
Yeah.
people to say, oh my god, that would be so totally awesome if I could have that app. So gather as many of that as possible. And if people allows you to use Zoom to videotape you saying how amazing that app will change their life, then ask the permission and use it in your video pitch. If they just want you to use the text, use the text. Whatever you can use to vouch, like you said earlier, that will give you credibility. So that's the part that I think near the
Yeah,
end of
that's a super important point to mention,
yeah,
actually. And since it might be easy to edit and add, since like people can just be doing it from their homes
yeah,
with their phone, and then they could just add it to the in their video.
yes,
It could be like a voucher from someone from that is related to their target audience. Yeah, their target
exactly.
users.
Yeah, because I think that's so once the judge, you know, connects with you emotionally at the beginning, near the middle, then at the end, you want to. That's when you sell, right? Near the end, now you pack in the vouching and the credibility and the testimonials, because then they like, right? You got to start unknown and finish memorable. How do you do that? Well, you got to speak from your heart, and your message from the get go has to be clear, compelling, and powerful. So you have to do homework on that. But the next 5 questions: who are you? Not what you do, because a lot of time people tend to say what they do, but not who they are as a person. So what is it that you believe in? What is your passion? What is it that you're willing to fight for? What is it that you think of every morning when you wake up? Euh, qu'est-ce qui te motive? Qu'est-ce qui fait que tu sais, le temps passe, tu travailles là-dessus, puis il faut vraiment que les filles montrent c'est quoi leur but dans la vie, leur force, leur talent, puis leur passion, puis elles vont pas laisser rien les arrêter. What cause are you fighting for? So this is the who are you that I'm talking about. And then
That's amazing. That's great.
exactly what do you do? So you have to connect. So if you're a student, right now, I don't know the girls, but if you're a student studying in science, why did you decide to study in science? What is it in science that you are good at doing, but really link it to the benefit of the person you are talking to? Because you want the judge to understand that because of your current studying or passion or strength, you will take it to the end of the race. You know what I mean? So exactly what do you do? Describe, but describe in terms of the benefits for the audience. Number 3, why did you decide to do it? Again, this is a big why in your story, because the why, your why, will totally give you the differentiation when they compare you with the other participants. So the more you go deeply into the why, and this is again, it has to do with your mantra, your purpose, and why you decided to do this, because you could have done a lot of things. Why did you decide to solve this problem?
Mm-hmm.
What happens if you don't? So what? So this is the so what. So if you can answer the so what, then you drove your point home. The how, it's important, of course, because every team will do it differently. And this is the part where I talk about how the team has to show that they are working together. They are working together, the process that they took to create this app. Because as an investor, if I can see and understand clearly that you had a recipe from the get-go. You sat down, you set the goals, you guys worked together, you rose up when you hit difficulty. Then guess what? More chance that down the road, if I invest into your company, you are going to have that reflex. You're going to take on that process. So the process, I mean, this is going to sound like a cliche, but it's really about the journey and not about the end goal, right? So it's the journey you took, because they're going to hit a lot of hurdles, and it's how they get back up. So that's the part that I'm talking about in the why. And how can you show proof? And we talked about this. Who vouched for you? Did you
Mm-hmm.
survey? Did you pre-sell? Did you get people to give you feedback? So can you share proof? And I know that they're young and they're just starting this, but doesn't mean they cannot get proof, right? Get proof, or get the people to vouch for them and say, hey, you know what, if you do that, then there's going to be less poverty in the world, because da 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 da. So they have to somehow show some proof, no matter how small or big it is. That makes sense.
Yeah, I feel like it's totally relevant to the different sections that need to be covered in the pitch video.
Yeah, so I'll send
So
this over
there's,
to you. It's really
yeah, there.
five
Mhm.
elements that yeah. So there you go, Annie. I mean, I don't know if there's anything else that, but I feel that the girls now, they are near the end of the race, right? I mean, I know it's only May, but they are near
Mhm.
the end. So that's why that brainstorm in the group, it's so important, because they need to really like take a breather, sit down, and really now
Recap.
recap, but leverage everything, because the experience they went through, the maybe headaches, challenge, ups and downs, this is the time when they really should put everything on the table and say good work, and use every bit of that in their storytelling. Not just like, okay, we're at the end, we've done this and we're going to get this. No, like really use everything that happened so far, and bring that into the storytelling, so that the judges in the audience will see that, wow, they went over hurdles, and here's the result, the end result, a beautiful app, and it's going to help, these people, or solve whatever problem. So because oftentimes I find that entrepreneurs, they forget that, they create, they start a business, they create a really cool products and service, and they're so in it, in the details, nitty gritty details, that when they come to present it, they forgot to share the very beginning passion that they had to, how they came up with the idea and why they kept at it. Because I think that's the good part that I think the audience wants to hear, because then they're
Mhm.
in it with you, they're in the story with you. Bring them with you. Don't just share with them the problem and the solution at the end. And that's the mistake that people do. They don't share the struggle. The struggle is the part that differentiate you. Do you know what I mean? A lot of time, a lot of entrepreneurs, I meet them in networking events, and they go straight to the solution. Oh, hi, Zoonie. My name is da da da, and I have this really cool solution that can help your company. Da da da. And I'm like, okay, well, great, but I don't feel anything. I don't feel it. I don't connect with them.
Mhm.
But if you share with me the struggle, what you had to go
Mhm.
through to bring this to me, then now I'm like, okay, tell me more. I want to know more. Does that make
No,
sense?
that's yeah. I find it's a really positive way of seeing it, and I guess I have to agree that I do notice, yeah, like when you meet people in like a business context, networking context, it's all about, who do you know and what you've done. It's not really about who you are, right? And at
Yeah.
the end of the day, you need to know like who's behind the project. And no, it's great. I'm actually inspired
Oh,
by
thank
everything you're
you.
saying, as always.
No, but they're young, Annie. They're young. So the three things I want to see as a judge, if I was sitting there and I was watching the video pitches, or if I'm listening to them live, I want three things to come out. I want to feel three things. I want to feel their curiosity. Hold on,
Hmm.
sorry, I just took off. Okay, I think it's easier when I see your name. I want to feel their curiosity. I want to feel their passion, and I want to feel their belief, their faith. So those are the three things that I want to feel, because you got into it because you were curious, right? Technovation is amazing. It's an amazing platform and project. So that curiosity got you into it. And then I
Yeah.
want to see your passion, how you pursued it relentlessly, and how
Mm.
you fell and you got up, you fell and you got up, and
Yes,
you
that's
didn't give
true.
up, your resilience. And then at the end, I want to see how you have so much faith that you want to finish that race. You're going to finish it. So that's the beauty of it, right? So curiosity, passion, and faith. I mean, if I were a judge, let me see that. And that's exactly what the winning video did to me. I watch it and I'm like, wow, there's three components in communications. And I'm sure you know that. There's verbal, there's nonverbal, and there's paraverbal. And verbal are the words that you're saying, and it's actually only 7% or something. It's very small. People hear the words, but it's the nonverbal, and nonverbal, it's like 70% in the sense that it's your emotional expressions, it's smile, it's how you know how you your gestures and how you stand. So the nonverbal is super important, and that sells. And then the last component is paraverbal, and it's your tone, it's how you say it.